Hi guys, so this is my final presentation. I couldn't get it to work on Zoom unfortunately, but I did my research and I found a way to do it. So let's see if we could rock and roll with this. This is my final project of what I have learned this year in English 122. And believe me, at first I thought that English 122 was going to make me sad, but it has made me very happy. So yeah, that's a plus. And my name is Jasmine Tyrion, if you didn't know me already, and let's get started. So an overview, this semester was definitely one of the more challenging semesters that I've had. Well, I transitioned from high school, so obviously it's going to be a little bit more difficult trying to transition from high school to college. But I was able to push away all the challenges, overcome them, to have more learning opportunities. That's all you can really do in situations like that. I learned from that my challenges. I should always look at something in within that challenge to try to be better. So especially going into college, figuring out what was for me and what wasn't for me, especially in English 122, trying to figure out my voice in my writing, my structure, how I was able to write certain things. It definitely worked out for me overall. So, yeah, I especially grew with this class. It helped me with a lot of things, not just only in writing. So, my top list of what I specifically did learn in English 22. It was definitely hard to narrow down some things because I feel like there was so many like little details that I did learn in English 122 that I could take with me to my next class. But the three that I did narrow it down to was I want to explore different majors. Going into college, I was set on becoming a teacher. Like for young children, at first I was like maybe high school, but I thought that I wanted to start in early childhood. But then I figured out that with my research, with my project for my paper, that's just not something that I want. I figured out that I had a bigger passion. Also, I was able to find my inner writer. I already had a good idea of what my inner writer was, but with my research, I was able to form new opinions, which is also good because you should always research. And the third, have better structure in writing. I am terrible at structure, so the checklist for my deadlines was amazing, and I was able to make deadlines for my checklist for myself and my life, so it was great. And why would I want to change my major for that first point of what I did learn? So, within the research process, I was able to find a deeper passion for solving certain issues in education or just solving certain issues in our society that do involve children. I am really passionate about helping people, and I thought that I wanted to be a teacher. Maybe that's somewhere where I could start. But for now, there are a lot of things about education in my research that I realized that I didn't think about before. um, just for me, I don't think that I would be able to punish children in the classroom. Like, you're like, hey, go sit in the corner. That's just not something that I could do personally. So I figured that in this research, it definitely helped me. And I feel like social work or government or psychology, that would definitely help. I'm really interested in the government aspect of it when it comes to funding education. I feel like that's really interesting, and I feel like I could positively contribute to that. So that's really the wraps on that, on why I would change my major. Finding my inner writer. This was something that honestly I wasn't really aware of until it came to, well, how can I make this sound more like me when I was, correcting my paper, figuring out what I could change instead of what, like the big things. I wanted to look at like the more specific, like what I could change. I used to struggle in high school just figuring out like exactly what my inner voice was, but with teachers in high school, I feel like they feel like, well, okay, well, let me rephrase that. Um, High school teachers are more focused on the little details about syntax, about your vocabulary, the little things for the SAT. They're not necessarily worried about your inner voice because that's established more on, but I feel like we're not really taught to build it. But in this research project for my paper, I feel like I was effectively able to realize that, correct it, and do it in a way where I felt like it was more effective and more pertaining to myself. And my group mates were a really good source of this. They were able to tell me like the little things that I could do to change my writing but I was also able to take that information and apply it to how I could be better for my writing. So that was really effective. I feel like my group mates in the discussion posts were really good at telling me specific details about my writing, and that made me very happy that they were willing to do that because, who doesn't like a good friend in class? Alrighty. And then for the third point, I have a better structure in writing. I am terrible at organization. I cannot stress that enough. Especially in school, I have never been good at organizing. I get a planner and I stop using it, and that's something that I can improve on. But the checklists that were made were definitely something that helped me and guide me into the good direction about my guidelines and my deadlines about the projects. I was able to look at the description and also look at the deadline, put that together and be like, okay, well, I need to get this done at the beginning of the week. I could get this done after work. And having to balance work and school is definitely something that I never thought about. I always thought, if I'm working part-time, if I'm going to school part-time, it should work out perfectly fine. But no, that's not always how it works, because sometimes you have to do overtime, sometimes you eat a longer lunch so you can't work something, or you just get distracted. It's definitely something that I have to get used to, but I'm willing to do that, so that's okay. And how far have I come? I never really thought about this question. I was kind of focusing on the negative. This question is really important because I feel like there's always a small part within us that doesn't realize how much we've actually done. We just see the things within the now, but not necessarily the things that we've accomplished that have led up to now. So I feel like I've come really far from understanding, this is what I need to do to be better, this is what I've done, and this is what I can do. So I feel like I've come really far, especially in my writing and being able to structure it. This class especially helped me be better outside of school with just making checklists and making sure that I'm getting stuff done on time. It definitely benefits me in life, and it benefits me in the workplace, so that's even better. And how can I apply this to life overall? I know that I've touched on this, but I feel like it's so important to do your research. There's so many things on social media that you never know are true. And if you have a strong opinion you haven't researched in a while, it's really important that you just stay updated on the subject and try to find sources that are really reliable. There's a lot of sources out there that aren't reliable, and a lot of people don't know how to figure out, how is it reliable? And they could even be sharing things from satirical sites and thinking that it's true. So always do your research. Make sure that it's a true article. Make sure that it's good, especially if it's a strong opinion that you have in politics and life and science, anything. And I learned that it is okay to change your mind. I was really set on education, and I was set on a certain topic for my paper, but then I realized that I shouldn't be afraid to change because I did my research, my mind changed, and I was like, wow, it's kind of crazy. So my mind changed. I realized that, it's okay to change your mind, it's okay to take risks, and I've never been good at taking risks, so that's good. And just a reflection for this whole entire presentation. When I look back at the semester, I did accomplish more than I thought. Like I said, I feel like it's really good for us to reflect upon just the year itself, to say, I did this, even when all of this was going on, even when this year was going bad, I actually did this. Even if it seems like something small, it could be something that led up to something big. So you have to stay optimistic about that. Also, this class has definitely given me a bigger sense of what I enjoy and what I'm passionate about. I've always liked English. I've always liked writing poetry. I love creative writing. I think that it's beautiful. So I think just going into this class and just seeing the whole entire process of how you write a paper over time, like a large period of time instead of the period of a week, I feel like it has definitely given me a sense of purpose in writing. So that made me happy. And I realized that college English really isn't that hard. I always thought that when I'd get to college, it would be really difficult, but surprisingly, it was great. And I genuinely learned something, which made me happier, so that's even better. So I appreciate all my group mates who have given me responses, who have just supported me. I appreciate you, Professor, for being so understanding. And I appreciate everybody that has helped me out. So that is the end of my presentation. Thank you very, very much.